What's up, guys? Blacked on Crypto here. Today I want to show you what I do when I look for floor axes. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. This is just personally what I do and what I'm looking for when I look for floor axes. I want to show what makes a good floor axis and what makes a bad floor axis. First, let me show some flips that I have made personally, and then we'll cover floor axes, how to understand the cards, understand the stats, and what extensions you might want to get. So let's first show off one of my small flips. I picked this guy up for 0.04 and I resold it for 0.049. Not the biggest flip, but it's just a small flip to kind of showcase what can be possible. I did this on stream. If you want to watch that live, I'm live every day, 11:30 a.m. CST over at twitch.tv/blackedout1. Let me show off my next flip. This was probably one of my bigger flips of a floor axis itself. It had Hero, Peacemaker, Eggshell, and Hair, and it's on an aqua body. It's actually pretty cool. It's just an interesting custom axis that you probably won't see very often. It's also very low ID, and it's one of a kind. I picked up for 0.051 and resold it for 0.3. So this just kind of shows you what you can do if you kind of have an eye for floor axes. So now let's cover what I think about floor axes and what I think is a bad floor axis and what makes a good floor axis. So first, let's cover like a bad floor axis. Remember, these ones that are at like $19 to $20 are not usually real. This one may actually have been real, but it is already sold. Let's cover, like I said, a bad floor axis and a good floor axis. I think birds, bugs, and beast are probably one of the hardest ones to find floor axes for. It's definitely possible, but you have to know what you're looking for, and they have to be set up almost perfectly right. So usually I don't like to pick up beast, birds, or bugs unless I know exactly what I'm looking for. It has a decent card set. But let me show what makes a bad floor axis first. Here. Why does this make a bad floor axis? Well, first, it's lacking damage. You want an axis that has a decent set of cards that has high damage, but here we have a zero cost card that has no damage. We have a Snail Shell that does like low damage. Then we have Anemone that's low damage, and then we have a card that doesn't combo well with it. So this is why this would be a bad floor axis. Let me show another bad floor axis. Like something like this isn't the worst, but remember it's on a beast body, and also it's already sold. I was gonna say this is not the worst floor axis I've ever seen. The biggest problem for me, why I wouldn't pick this up, is it's very slow and it's on a beast body versus another type of body. It's nice that it actually had the boosted speed, and that's probably why it just sold. I think that was actually not the worst axis I've seen on the floor. It was this guy here. Let's find another floor axis to kind of give you a general idea of why I think it might be bad. So something like this. And this is kind of why I don't like Beast, because they have a lot of bad movesets, right? It has Imp here, which is like no damage, and then it's a zero cost with Cottontail. You never want to pick up an Axie in general with 2 zero cost cards. Kind of the go-to is to have 1 zero cost card and 3 supporting high damage cards. This is also different for a tank. Tank, sometimes you don't want any zero cost cards, or you want 1 zero cost card. It all really depends. But yeah, here we're looking for some type of damage dealer, and here we're missing 2 damage cards, and we only have 1 damage card. That would be a bad floor axis just all around. So now that I've showed what makes a bad floor axis, let me quickly show kind of some helpful tools and what I use for understanding the cards and kind of have a general idea of what I'm looking at. So the first helpful tool is Axie World. You should definitely check out Axie World because it gives you a list of all the cards and kind of what the abilities are, right? You can come over here and you can really study the cards, and you can find cards that you're like, okay, this card doesn't make any sense and it does low damage and would be bad to have on a certain axis. So something like, let's go Shelter, right? So Shelter, unless it's on a tank, it's not really a great card. So for a floor axis with Shelter as a tank, wouldn't be bad. If you're trying to pick up a DPS axis and it had Shelter on it, it'd be a pretty bad card. You want to check this. You want to check this off your list whenever you see this. If you're looking for a DPS floor axis, if you're looking for a tank floor axis and it has Shelter, maybe that's something to look at. But when we're looking for DPS, Shelter's not good for us. So that's kind of how I do it. I kind of get a basic idea of all the cards. And because I've been playing so long, it makes it easier for myself. But someone that has not been playing very long, make sure you come here and you definitely study all the cards before you actually look into picking up any floor axes yourself. The next helpful tool I would say is AXIES. AXIES has a bunch of helpful things on it. like the buffs here, buffs and debuffs. So if you don't know what the buffs are or the debuffs are, you can come over here and look it up. It's like aroma, target prioritizes. You can come over here and you can just look at Axie Zone. You can look at all the buffs and debuffs. Like what attack up does is increases the attack by 20%. So pretty good, right? The next helpful tool is Freak's Axie extension. Makes it so I know exactly what I'm looking for on the marketplace. So I know the dominant, the recessive gene, and everything else. All right, now let's get back to the marketplace, kind of look at more floor axes and kind of get a better idea of what the bad card set and what's a good card set. So I'm going to do some filtering here just to kind of show you what I would do if I was more of a beginner, what I was trying to look for. For me, I can just look at the axes and kind of know off the top of my head exactly what's a good axie and what's a bad axie, but it may take you to use the extension for some help. So you can use the extension over here, like I was talking about, and you can see all the dominant genes. Those are the cards that the Axie has itself. So this way, I don't have to actually click on the Axie. I can kind of just scroll through and look exactly for what I want. Also, they just made an update. That's probably why a lot of these Axies are moving off the floor. They just made breeding cost 1 AXS and the SLP costs go up. So we'll probably see a big shift in floor axes going up in price right now. So making sure you get yourself some decent floor axes. So let me kind of show off a couple more bad floor axes and why I think they're bad. Why someone might think they're good. So actually, this one is not the worst thing in the world, actually. But the reason why I think it's floor. The reason why I think it's floor is because it has 2 cards here. This one is actually probably a flip. It has Garishworm, Cerastes, so 2 high damage dealing cards. Sirius is the bad card here, and then it has Cottontail, which is a 0 cost card. So if it had anything other than Sirius, this thing would actually be worth quite a lot more. I can show that really quick and what I mean. So we were looking at Cerastes, Garish. And as you can see, look at the price. This may actually be a pickup for me. These have Grass Snake instead. This one has Cottontail. So maybe it is definitely a possible flip, right? But this is like some way to like look at stuff to kind of judge for yourself if you think it's worth picking up. This one's probably like one of the better ones on the floor. So this is kind of what we'd be comparing ourselves to. I think it could go up a little bit more to probably like 0.5 or something. But for me, it's not something I'm interested in flipping right now. But that just gives you a general idea what I look at for when I flip. Now I'll come back to you guys when I find something that I'm going to personally flip. So I just found my Axie that I'm going to decide to flip. I know how we talked about not really going into beast, but I actually found a beast that I think was really good and is worth picking up. It has Acro, Ronin, Nutcracker, Grandma's Fan, and it's 45 speed. I think this is a pretty good pickup because let's look at ones that are even 43 speed. See if we find ones that we like. No, ours was pretty much the cheapest, even at 43 speed. There's one with Goda at 43 speed. Ours had 45. And then you can see how the jump just goes up from there. So I actually think it was a really good pickup for a 45 speed. And we'll probably end up reselling it too. I'm going to resell it around 0.06 just because I think it's fine to sell it there. We could even sell it a little bit higher, but I think we just want a quick flip. And if we're looking for a quick flip, 0.06, so we end up making quite a bit of profit. I just wanted to quickly show that this actually did sell. I picked it up for 0.048. I resold it for 0.062. I really did think it was a good Axie with Ronin, Acro, and 45 speed. It also had Grandma's Fan, which means your opponent's Axies can't go into last stand. So if you speed yourself up and then hit them with like a Grandma's Fan or a Ronin, it's actually a pretty decent combination. And for a 45 speed beast, I think it was a great deal for the person that picked it up. If you guys would like to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.